Hello, once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency, specializing in authors and musicians. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. Call us today at 941-567-6193 or on the web at www.publicityworksagency.com. And by the Rockstar Chronicles, Series 1, my book featuring over 45 intimate conversations with the greatest music legends the world will ever know. It's available now at bookbaby.com and amazon.com. Well, after 40 years in the heavy metal arena, legendary U.S. heavy metal guitarist Jack Starr's stories are endless. Instrumental in the early 80s with the development of power metal with his first band, VIRGIN STEELE, to eventually going solo and fronting Jack Starr's Burning Star for the last 35 years. Jack Starr has a story to tell. During a 5-decade career, Burning Star released material spanning many genres, from classic rock and metal to blues and even some jazz. Jack was involved from the start in the success of that Florida's 80s In the Park yearly festival in the 2010s. Jack reflects on sharing the stage with fellow 80s contemporaries, LITA Ford, Quiet Riot, LA Guns, Winger, Slaughter, to name just a few. Burning Star's involvement contributed to the success and helped the 80s metal revival of the 2010s happen. 2022 brings more to the story. Global Rock Records has announced the signing of legendary U.S. heavy metal guitarist Jack Starr's band Burning Star for the band's new album, Souls of the Innocent. Souls of the Innocent continues Jack and the band's commitment to true U.S. style, power metal, and new vocalist Alex Panza also continues the band's legacy of discovering great vocal talent. The new album will be released first half of 2022 and will surely impress the guitarist's faithful following worldwide. Global Rock will also be issuing a 3-disc Burning Star anthology covering the band's entire career and featuring some rare and never-heard tracks. Please welcome guitarist, songwriter, record producer Jack Starr to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, Jack.
Hey Ray, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good, man. A fellow Floridian. That's awesome, dude.
Yep, not too far away either.
Are
So
you
it's all
following?
good.
Are you following the Lightning? Are you a Lightning fan or a Florida fan?
Uh,
Hockey wise,
I'm a Florida fan.
really?
Yeah.
Hey, man, we're going for the three-peat here.
It's all good.
I saw you on YouTube doing Blues Breaker Blues, and I
Mm,
was totally blown away. And the reason I say this, not a lot of guitar players can just get on and play like you do, cold like that. And I bet you anything Keith Richards can't do that because, there's a lot of guys that get this build up. And when it comes down to actually playing, on YouTube or just picking up a guitar and playing, they don't do it. They got to have the studio. But you're incredible, man.
Hey, I appreciate that. Well, when I started playing, being able to improvise was a big deal back then. It wasn't so much about trying to learn other people's riffs note for note. It was about trying to, do your own thing. And that's always what I've strove to do.
Now, do you play by ear or are you trained?
I really do play mainly by ear, but I've been doing it for so long now that
Right.
all the stuff that I came upon by accident, it turned out to be musically correct. So it's hard to really explain, but what I mean by that is, like, I really was kind of like the monkey at the typewriter.
Hmm.
And I've been doing it so long that I've been constructing sentences and paragraphs and whole books now without really knowing what I'm doing. But I figured out all the bad stuff and got rid of it. So I'm pretty much doing it by the book, even though I never read the book.
That's genius. It really is. I play some guitar as well, and to play by ear and do what you do. I mean, most of the greatest, rock guitarists in history, they don't know music, which is
It's true.
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to think that, guys like George Harrison or Jimmy Page don't read or write music,
Right.
and which is really amazing. And it was funny because I read this thing, I'll digress for 1 second, where Jimmy Page was judging a contest
Hmm.
in London, and these young guitar players were trying to, get a perfect rendition of Stairway to Heaven, the solo. And this 17-year-old kid won, and Jimmy Page handed the kid the prize, which was a nice Gibson guitar. And he said, you play that closer to the record than I ever have. So right there, it really shows you, what that's all about.
After all these years of listening to so much music, and I listen to so many albums, interviewing everybody. I think I've gotten pretty good at judging who's the real guitar player and who's not, and who's all hype. And of course, there's a lot of hype out there. You're going to hear Jimmy Page and Eric the same guys all over and over again. But now I'm realizing who the true guitar players that are. Like, in my opinion, now I go for Richie Blackmore because that guy can do acoustic. He can do anything.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Blackmore really is one of the greats. I can't say much about his personality. I have met the guy a couple of times, but so I won't say anything because my mom told me if you can't say anything nice,
Right.
don't say anything. He's a great guitar player, no doubt.
Well, I'm friends with Candace, his wife.
Oh, okay. Oh boy.
Of course, I say all good things about Richie when I'm on with Candace, but
Yes.
he's always in the basement having a beer or something when I'm talking to Candace. I never
But
get to see him.
but I have to say, Candace definitely has done wonders
Hmm.
for his personality and his stability. And she is a great talent and doesn't
Yes,
get the recognition that she deserves.
I agree, man. The way they play all those ancient instruments,
Amazing.
it's very, very cool. First of all, where did you find Alex, man? He's a great singer.
Yeah, Alex is really amazing. I really should run a finishing school for lead singers. I mean, I don't know where we found this guy, but I can tell you a funny story. We were in Germany doing a concert about 8 years ago,
Hmm.
and he was on the line, on the autograph line, where we sign merchandise
Hmm.
at the end of the show. And so there's a picture that was taken of me and Alex, and I'm telling you, he looks so young. And he was actually 22 back then, but he really looked like he was about 17. And didn't realize it. And then after we got him in the band, the picture materialized, because everything on the internet comes back,
Hmm.
no matter what you've done in your life, or it could be 40 years ago, you stopped at a hamburger stand, there's a picture of it somewhere. So the picture came up, and it was really just an amazing coincidence that he was just a kid, and he really had a lot of love for our band Burning Star and for my playing, and for our previous singer Rhett Forrester,
Hmm.
who had been in the band Riot. He was a big fan of Rhett.
Right.
So it meant a lot to him to be playing with me, because he was kind of following in the footsteps of Rhett.
Yeah.
Not to diminish that he also liked my playing, but that's the truth.
Yeah. I just had Rick Ventura on the
Great.
show
Great.
not long ago. He's a good
Another
guy.
great guitar player.
Yeah. You got new management not long ago, correct?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. And what I noticed about this new album, the producing and the engineering, the quality of the album is incredible. I really noticed that like right off the bat.
Well, you know what? That makes me feel good that you said that, because to me, it shows that you really listen to it.
Oh yeah.
Because we really take a lot of pride in
Hmm.
making these albums sound really good.
Right.
And we've got great help. We've got this guy named Kevin Burns,
Hmm.
who has a studio in Virginia, like in that whole Beltway area.
Sure.
And this guy's got like every amplifier you could think of in his basement. These Bogner amps and these, just, I don't know, these amazing amplifiers that are like, $5,000 a head,
Jeez.
And so what we do when we record is we there's a technique called reamping,
Hmm.
where you play with a very clean sound on
Hmm.
one channel, a gain sound on the other channel, and then you let the engineer reamp it.
Hmm.
And that's what we do. So what I'm playing sometimes can be crystal clear, but then it gets tweaked, and so in other words, we've got good help, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Very clean sound. I love it, man.
Yeah,
And
me
that's
too.
important. It's very important in an
A-
album. Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't want to like hide behind lots of distortion and delay and all that stuff.
Yeah. I took my son to a Godsmack concert recently.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, it was like a festival and there was like 15 bands, he grew up in that era,
Yeah.
the 90s and all that stuff.
Well, that's like my son too,
Yeah.
he loved Pantera and all those
Right.
bands, and yeah.
But some of those bands, it was like they cranked up the volume. You can't hear any of the instruments. You can't even hear the singer. I mean, what's that all about?
And, of course, people could have said that in 1965 about the Beatles. All you
Yeah.
heard was screaming
Well,
people.
yeah.
I don't know. It's all good.
It's all good. Yeah. The new album, who wrote the music and lyrics? Was that you?
I wrote the majority of it, but I
Okay.
had some serious help and collaboration from the bass player in the band, Ned Maloney,
Okay.
who's a wonderful bass player, and he's played with some great names as well. Since you mentioned Blackmore, he also played with Joe Lynn Turner,
Mm-hmm.
and he's played with Steve Whitman, the singer from Kix.
Right.
So Ned's been around the block. In other words, he's old like I am,
Yeah.
but he's
And me.
okay. Hey, you don't look it, brother.
But yeah, the album is incredible, man. I gave it 5 stars. Why not?
Wow,
It's
that's
good
really
music.
cool.
It's great
I'm
music.
just impressed that you listen to some of the obscure YouTube videos like Blues Breaker and so forth. Because that really, when you can just pick up a guitar,
Right.
play off the top of your head, that's really so important. I mean, that to me shows if you have it or
If you have
don't.
it. Exactly.
But yeah,
Exactly right.
so this album, the interesting thing, okay, is when we created these songs and this album, the bass player and the drummer would say, okay, we're gonna leave a minute here for the solo.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, guys, don't you think that's a bit much? You want me to do a whole minute long solo? And they would go, yeah, I think you need to have that. So, and it kind of put me on the spot, because some of these songs like Drowning in a River of Blood, which is a nice romantic,
Yeah.
ballad. I mean, there's literally like a minute and I don't know, 20 seconds. So it's like, how do you approach these things without writing every single note out?
Yeah.
And I don't have that ability to do that. And not only that, I don't even have home recording machines. I don't even have a sampler, those pedals where you play rhythm guitar and then all I did really was I would listen to the rough tracks for about 2 or 3 weeks
Right.
and just examine all the possibilities of what I could say in that minute that I had.
Hmm.
And then when it came time to record it, I had 2 or 3 alternate takes, and the difficulty was really picking the one that expressed the most what I wanted to, say in the solo.
Sure. And some of those solos, you can hear it on All Out War.
Mm.
Great guitar riff on that, and also hitting that high note, man, on the vocals. That's a good example of how great of a singer he is.
Yeah, Alex can hit really unusually high notes,
Yeah.
but he doesn't overdo it, which is
Right.
great. He's got a bluesy, gritty side,
Hmm.
probably from liking singers like Red Forster and Dave Coverdale
Right.
and so on. And so it's really cool because I have both those influences, the metal and the
Hmm.
blues, and so it's kind of nice.
It's refreshing to hear a young talent with that kind of voice too, because a lot of the old rockers now they're
Oh
losing
yeah.
it a little bit.
Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
really enjoy Alex while I can for the next couple of years before some huge band, steals him away. And but that's okay. That's okay because we're gonna make our mark with this album,
Right.
and it's just one more rung up the ladder. And so I'm good.
Yeah. Great album. I want to give kudos out to Kevin Burns and Bart Gabriel for doing such a great
Yes.
job on this album
Um,
as well.
Bart, not so much on this album,
Uh-huh.
because we kind of really took the production into our own hands
Okay.
on this album.
Hmm.
But Bart did some great work with us in the past, and he
Right.
definitely should be acknowledged.
Okay.
On this album, we, myself, the bass player, and Kevin, also with the help of Giles and Lavery, who's our new manager,
Hmm.
and we really we were going for a different sound. Actually, is really what happened here, and I think it is different than the last couple of albums. Would you agree with that?
I think so. Yeah. It really stands out on its own.
Yeah.
That's what I
It,
like about it.
it's less what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, it's less layered.
Right.
The last album had a tremendous amount of tracks.
Hmm.
I mean, there was like 8 tracks of guitar on
Hmm.
any given songs. There was maybe 24 tracks of vocals. It was like insanity. It was like trying to dissect the Queen album and realizing how complicated those albums are.
Yeah.
This album, we actually set about to make something more just something that could be more readily performed live,
Hmm.
and kind of more like maybe like an early Black Sabbath influence was
Right.
there. But again, it has its own thing. I really think that, and every band says this, so I feel awkward to even say it, but I feel that we've kind of have our own sound at this point.
Hmm. No, I agree. I agree 100%. And some of the tracks kind of border on progressive metal.
Yeah.
It
Oh yeah.
does.
There's some definite progressive leanings, some of the bass and guitar unison riffs,
Right.
which you hear in bands like Dream Theater or Rush,
Exactly. Yeah.
and it's cool because sometimes we use them as connector riffs,
Hmm.
riffs that connect one part of the song to another part of the song, and yeah, and some odd time signatures are in there, and so on, and there's also some actual meter changes
Hmm.
within one song, which is cool to hear. I love hearing bands do that when they do it well.
Exactly. Progressive metal has gotten really popular all of a sudden. Um,
Yeah, I think so. And I think it could be as a response to a lot of the homogenized, electronic
mhm,
babble that's out there, where people use drum computers
right.
and they use vocal enhancers and they use all this stuff. And you don't know if you're hearing a band or if you're hearing, a gifted engineer.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the thing with progressive is a lot of that really has to be performed. I mean, when you're
Mhm.
playing in 7/8 time and you're doing these intricate unison riffs, it would probably take more time to try to program machines to do it than actually rehearse the parts with a band and do it.
Yeah. It lets you shine as well, progressive
Yeah,
metal. It really does.
absolutely.
Got to be a
Absolutely.
good guitar player to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely think there's an element of that on the
it
album,
is.
you know.
I noticed a few tracks, several tracks, as a matter of fact, that had that, that quality of
Yeah,
a progressive rock.
and that also has to do with the bass player Ned
Hmm.
Maloney, who
Yep.
he's one of these guys that's constantly looking to improve his playing.
Yep.
He really looks up to Steve Harris
Hmm.
of Maiden and Geddy Lee, of course, and bass players that do more than hold the bottom.
Right.
You
Right.
know, what I mean, and holding the bottom is cool too. By the way,
Hmm.
I love bass players like Michael Anthony. That go boom, 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 bam, 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 bam. Like in Van Halen.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's just that for whatever reason, we never went to that particular thing.
Yeah. Some of the tunes on this album I love. I mean, Ships in the Night, of course.
Right.
Great intro, awesome vocals. You mentioned, River of Blood, great
Yeah.
intro, great guitar riffs. Very different. You hit it right on the nose when you said this is a different album, because I'm hearing a lot of different riffs, guitar riffs I've never heard before. You know?
Yeah, it is. The thing with like Ships in the Night too, which was really cool, is we actually used the string section in that song.
Hmm.
But if you listen to it with headphones, you'll
Right.
hear where the strings come in. We purposely didn't overdo it. We didn't really bring them out front, but
Hmm.
they're there and gives it a nice flavor.
Definitely. The title track, Souls of the Innocent, man, that blew me away. That's a great song. I mean, that stands out as the title track. You
Oh
can
yeah.
tell that's a title track.
Yeah, and lyrically, the song was written
Hmm.
about the shootings in Las Vegas.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was really just a horrible thing. To think that there's innocent people going to a concert, uh, out there to have a good time and listen to music and assemble peacefully, which
Hmm.
is our God-given right in this
Right.
society. And for them to be picked off, by a sniper, it's just absolutely horrendous. They truly were the souls of the innocent,
Yeah.
you know, just like in France at that other concert,
Hmm.
when there was like 80 people killed
Yeah.
in a concert hall. You
Yeah.
know, it's actually a concert hall that I played in like
Hmm.
35 years ago.
Huh.
It's just horrendous. The Bataclan is the name of the place. Because I am of French origin,
Yeah.
and
I saw that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I've gone back and I've done shows there various times in my life.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Souls of the Innocent was really about that, and
Hmm.
we really hope that that just some sanity might
Hmm.
return to our society. That would be nice.
You know what's interesting? Uh, Most of these albums I've been listening to all have something to do with current events. Either
Mhm.
in Ukraine, the lockdown, COVID,
Yeah.
And you hate to say this, but it inspired a lot of musicians, just like the 60s did with the Vietnam War and the protests and all that,
I
it
think
really
you
did.
have a good point there. I think, musicians are always inspired
Hmm.
by what's going on around them,
Right.
and they should be, because same thing with writers and painters and movie makers
Yep.
and what have you. We don't live in a bubble,
Hmm.
and we need to reflect our times.
Exactly. Yeah. You mentioned Black Sabbath. Road to Hell reminded me a little bit of Black Sabbath.
Yeah, I think so. I think I saw on a bumper sticker, the Stairway to Heaven isn't so crowded, but Highway to Hell is.
Yeah,
Road to
exactly.
Hell, it's kind of funny. Yeah, lyrically, but lyrically, the songs are all really very crafted,
Hmm.
so that a person reading the lyrics will be actually surprised at the depth and the care that went into the lyrics.
Well, every song tells a story and a visual story at
Yes,
that, which I
I,
love, you know?
I think so. I think you're right. And so yeah, so Road to Hell is a cool song.
Hmm.
Drowning in a River of Blood, I mean, really is somebody had to come up with that song title. And I plead guilty on that one. But that's a cool song,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of guitar in there. There's some unusual things that are happening. If we had the budget, I
Hmm.
would tell the record company, issue a set of headphones with each album,
Yeah.
because what's it's really an amazing listen, you know. So maybe, who knows? Maybe that'll be, if this album does really well, the
Mhm.
second and third pressings could include headphones.
That'd be a great marketing tool. You remember Pink Floyd did the little light on the CD
Yes.
that kept
Yeah.
blinking, which
Oh
blinked for a
yeah.
long time, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. And and Pink Floyd is just phenomenal
Yeah.
band, and the guitar player is just phenomenal in that
Oh
band.
yeah.
And and what's good, and this is kind of where I see a correlation,
Right.
is that a lot of my favorite guitar players are really blues based,
Hmm.
like David Gilmour
Hmm.
or Tony Iommi or Jimmy Page, or
Yep.
so I think without the blues as a foundation, uh you, you play differently.
Yeah, you do.
Doesn't mean that it's not as good, but for me,
Hmm.
I prefer hearing the phrasing that a lot of people who listen actively to the blues,
Hmm.
they develop this phrasing, and you can't get away from it. It becomes intrinsic to your playing.
Yep.
That phrasing. You know.
You're an incredible blues player. Are you gonna come up with another blues album, or what do you think in the
Yeah,
future?
I I want to, because I mean, I love playing the blues,
Yeah.
and it's definitely a part of me. And I worked really hard to I worked really hard actually to dispel a lot of people that were saying, you can't play the blues, you're a metal guy.
No.
No, because you have these naysayers around you, and especially in Florida, which is kind of weird, because when I moved down here,
Yeah.
there was a lot of really amazing blues guitar players in
Hmm.
this whole county that I moved to. And
Hmm.
I mean, guys that had basically gone out there, played with everyone, from Hubert Sumner to Muddy Waters to
Hmm.
James Cotton. And for me, it was like somebody who was basically throwing the gauntlet and saying, okay, you suck at blues. Let's see you rise to the challenge. And I really worked my butt off ever since I moved to Florida to get good at blues, just so that I could be accepted. And now I am, it's just, and the sad thing is some of the guys that were here, when I moved down here, who were older than me, some of them have passed away. And but they left this legacy of great blues playing in videos and CDs and so on. And it was a real influence for me because they were there. I'd go to a club and like Lou's Blues or whatever, some of these clubs. And there were guys there playing on stage that were maybe, I don't know, 5-10 years older than me, but guys that were every bit as good as Clapton or Peter Green.
I agree.
Or Johnny Winter. And they were sitting there, I mean, not, standing up there and making 300-400 a night. And I was, this is amazing. These guys should be headlining, So I just really absorbed quite a bit from them. Yeah,
I agree with you. There are a lot of great, a lot of talent out there that they don't get recognized,
No, sure.
Sometimes they just harp on the legends over and over again, just because it's easy. It's easy for them, they don't want to dig deep. Just
and
like
for me, you're right. And for me, it was kind of like, I guess I love a good challenge, and I felt that I felt I had to kind of prove myself, being from up north. And these guys were kind of like, they had almost like I don't want to say like almost like a prejudice, against Northerners. It's like
really
like it's like we play the real deal. We have a more of a link to the blues because we're from down south and so on, and you're from Long Island. What the hell do you know about blues? So, but and you could say, well, hey, I could see their point. How many great blues players have come out of Long Island? Probably none. I mean, and even the guys that are great, like Joe Satriani or Steve Vai or what have you. They're not really noted for blues,
Right. That's true.
So anyway,
living in Florida, do you know Pat Travers? He lives probably not that far from you.
I have, I've run into him once or twice. I can't say I know him,
Right.
But he's a great player. Very, if you can say somebody's underrated, that's had gold albums. I would say he's kind of underrated. I mean, the guy can play anything,
Yeah, him and a guy I know as well, Frank Marino, are very underrated.
Very. That's another guy, and of course, Robin Trower. You can't say is underrated because the guy lives in Florida, but I mean, come on, everybody knows who he is, and he's made some phenomenal. And what I like about Robin Trower is she's got this very slow, lazy style of playing, and I like that. It's like to me, I would compare it to the drumming of John Bonham, who plays, behind the beat, and it creates a really nice, comfortable feel when you're on stage. With a drummer like that, and our drummer Rhino, tremendous drummer,
excellent drummer.
And he plays, slightly behind the beat also, which is great for me because the older I get, the more I want to play behind the beat. I'm not looking to push the rhythm or speed through a song. I want to do the opposite. If I can, I'd rather like slow things down a hair,
You mentioned your drummer. He shines on Demons Behind Me. You can really
tremendous. And it's funny because you mentioned that song. We had a co-producer when we started doing the album, who later we decided we weren't going to use him, but he was telling us we needed to redo the drum tracks for that song.
Really?
He said it was too busy and that the drums didn't sound like
Sounded great.
Right, exactly. He says the drums don't sound like they're part of that song. And we thought about it, listened to it for like a week, played it to a whole bunch of people, and we decided, you know what, we're going to go with it because there's this incredible enthusiasm on the drums in that song.
That's right.
That I think is great. It's like overwhelming. It's very, very cool.
It wouldn't be the same without that drum lick, man. It wouldn't. No.
Yeah, it's just tremendous drumming.
Yep.
And it's kind of like reminiscent of if you could marry Keith Moon and John Bonham in one song, you know. If you could get the kind of like the enthusiasm of Keith Moon with the really tightness of John Bonham, you know. And that song has it, and every drummer should listen to that song.
Yeah, he shines on that track. He really does.
He does, and that's the first song on the album. And you know, so it's kind of cool that we come in with a bang.
Right.
You know, we have this kind of very classical intro, and then it's kind of okay. You know, we showed that we can be melodic, but now here's what we have to say. You know,
hey, we can do it all. Just listen.
We try. You know.
All right, my favorite song on the album, you might be surprised, I don't know. It's the bonus track, When Evil Calls. And I'll tell you why. First of all, the lyrics are incredible. When evil calls, I will not answer. I mean, come on, man. What a great lyric, especially now. It just fits in with today's times, you know?
You know, that really surprises me that you said that, but I agree with you 100%. That song was not put on the last album, which really annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was a really strong song. I thought it was really well produced.
Yep.
And I don't know, you know, we're not working with that group of people who made that decision.
Right.
I'm not saying that was the reason, but we're not working with them, and because we were no longer working with them, I felt that, you know what, I can undo some of their decisions.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that they didn't do a lot of good for the band, and it's not, you know, to put down anybody, but it's just to say that I was afforded the luxury of being able to undo a couple of things.
Sure.
And that was number one on my list.
Hey, you know, if you ever want a backup opinion before you put an album out, send it to me.
I will.
I'll be honest, man. To me, it's, you know, it's a no-brainer. You know, some of these tracks, I can tell you what are good and what are not. You know, and what belongs on the album.
You know, it's kind of funny because I tried telling that to said person.
Yep.
And I said, I had a bunch of my friends listen to that song in my car.
Yep.
I said, we listened to it, blasting it. We listened to the whole album. And out of about 4 friends whose opinions I value, 3 of them said that was the best song on the album. So it was like, my feeling was, are you sure that we need to get rid of that song? And they maintained that we did, so we got rid of it. Jeez. But I said, you know what, maybe next time out, we'll get it on the album.
I think it could be a soundtrack, a movie soundtrack, you know?
Yeah, especially the beginning when it comes in with that really eerie, clean guitar, you know. Yeah, you know, it's a cool song. And the lyrics too do have a message. I mean,
incredible lyrics.
Because you know, it's too easy to jump on the evil bandwagon, you know, like evil is cool, you know. But what we want to tell people, you know, young people, is, hey, it's cool to stick to your guns and not
Mhm.
be evil and not think that you have to go with the crowd, and I mean, we're almost like a Christian rock band, which is kind of ironic because we're not, but
Mhm.
our lyrics certainly uh, are not uh, are not at all satanic,
Right. Right. Well, like Black Sabbath, they were not satanic, and I hate people that think they
Uh,
are because you talk to Ozzy, they're not. He's a Christian guy.
yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And even the very first song, what is this that stands before me,
Right.
and then he goes, oh God, help me. He's not
Yeah.
saying Satan help me.
Yeah.
He's calling out to God,
Right.
and even them wearing, those crosses, that was because they felt that they needed to to wear that as kind of
Mhm.
protection because they were being so misinterpreted,
Mhm.
and they were encountering all these kooks in America, which our country has plenty of,
Oh yeah.
and they were encountering these kooks that were like, oh, you guys are one of us, come to our satanic meeting or
Exactly.
whatever, I mean.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, these guys were just like, some English lads that were happy hanging out at the pub and happy, playing music. They didn't want to sacrifice virgins or.
See, they're not understanding the music. They're not listening to the lyrics, you know? They don't know. It's just like, Dio's, the horns.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the devil, you know. He's Italian. It's
It's a
the evil
Sicilian.
eye back on you. You know what I mean? Bounces off me, sticks to you. You know that kind of thing.
Exactly. Hey, listen, my mother, who's not Italian, but my mother was born, actually, my mom was born in Turkey. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. And then, but she came to France when she was
Uh huh.
2 years old. But she did the horn thing.
Sure.
And she would sometimes wear like an onion
Right.
because she believed that onions warded off the devil.
Right.
Go figure.
That's right.
So, people do what they do, and we need to understand and not just assume that it's satanic or
Exactly.
evil or whatever,
My dad, his family is from Syria,
Mm.
and he always wore a hand. The same thing, just a hand around his neck. And my mom was Cuban, and the Cubans are
Right.
really,
Exactly.
they do tarot cards and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not evil.
No, there's more to life, obviously, than we're aware of.
Yeah,
And to say that, everything that we see is all that exists,
right.
it's incorrect. There's so
It
many
is incorrect.
layers and dimensions and,
I agree.
and so, so what Black Sabbath was doing was simply, delving into other things,
Yeah. Plus, it's a show.
Plus
It's a show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I just want to mention the new album officially gets released July 15th, right?
yes, which is coming up. And,
Right.
we're looking forward to it. And,
Yep.
you know, we don't, we're not saying, oh, this is going to, turn us into rock stars or what have you. It's been a slow
Hmm.
process,
Right.
but if we keep, going another rung on the ladder, and we keep developing this huge cult following that we have
Hmm.
all over the world,
Sure.
we'll be really happy, because really it's
Yep.
about making great music, and that to me is the ultimate success.
Hmm.
Being able to say, you know what, I did good, this thing has merit, and that's really what we're all about, just because you ask the average person, like, who's the best guitar player? They're going to say Eric Clapton. Why? Because he has the best publicist.
Yeah, exactly.
It's as simple as that.
That's right.
He's got the best backing, the best label, and or they'll say Santana or somebody, or I mean, Rolling Stone's list of, I don't know, top 20 guitar players was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, they put Joan Jett in there. You know,
I-
it's just about having a great publicist or a good label
right.
and so on.
Ken Nugent
So,
was right.
yeah.
Joan Jett should not be in anywhere near top guitar players. You know,
No.
neither should Nancy Wilson of Heart. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, and it's great, to give them their due, but we also need to do things in
yeah,
an equitable way that
right,
rewards real talent, because there are guys out there that have been slugging it out for
right.
years and years, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm just talking about people that deserve to be acknowledged that are not acknowledged.
Yeah,
And
sad.
yeah, so that's basically what I'm saying. So it would be nice to get more recognition.
Hmm.
More money would be cool.
Yeah,
I'll take it. Not that I'm,
sure.
not that I'm complaining. I mean, I have a good life out here in Florida,
Right.
but it would be nice to get more of the perks that come
Mhm.
with, with making really great music.
Yep.
And so universe, I'm ready. Give it to me.
What about touring? What's going on there? Are you gonna promote the album and
Oh
hit the
yeah.
road?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There
Yeah.
are plans underway, and
Where
we'll
are you guys gonna go? Overseas or in
yeah,
America?
probably overseas, because
Yeah.
I mean, that's where Burning Star has done best.
Hmm.
For reasons unbeknownst to me, we do really well in like Greece,
Right.
Italy, Germany, and Greece, Italy, and Germany.
Yeah.
And we do really good in Greece, Germany, and Italy. Hey, listen, we'll take 3 countries. It's better than
Yeah.
none.
I would think probably like Amsterdam as well, maybe, And
I think once we get over there,
yeah,
they'll like us. I think really basically any country will like us. I mean,
yeah,
we just kind of develop it, go over
sure.
there, and have a decent sound, man, and basically just not be afraid to assert ourselves. A lot of these bands, they're very gun shy. They
Hmm.
have a timid approach.
Hmm.
You can't be like that. You got to
Hmm.
go out there, guns a-blazing, and basically tell the world, here I am, this is what
Right.
I do. Because anytime you put yourself on a pedestal and say, I'm good, I made a great album, or I painted a great painting, or whatever, there are some people that feel it's their duty to throw
Hmm.
rocks at you.
Sure.
Like, oh, who is this guy? Blah, blah, blah. But you cannot let the naysayers or haters or whatever
Yeah.
get to you. You just have to go out there and do your thing, and interact with people, and people will respect it, and they'll dig it if it's good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I've had some of your friends on this show not long ago. Let's say I had Kelly Nichols, who you
Mm,
worked with before. Good guy.
great
Ross
guy.
the Boss. I've had Ross the Boss on not that long ago. Another
Great
cool
guy.
Yeah.
Also blues based too. His
Yeah,
playing, is definitely has a lot of that in it, which is good.
exactly. Yeah. Here's a question I always ask everybody. I get some very interesting answers. If you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie, to play with, collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
I would want to make an album with Jimmy Page.
Really?
Yeah, I would. I think we could come up with some great stuff, equal to Stairway to Heaven and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. Definitely, it would be Jimmy.
Well, he's not doing much these days, is he?
No, hey, put in a good word for me. He can even take total songwriting credit. Just give me a check. Just give
Just
me
so
a
you can
check.
play with him, right?
Yeah, I just want a check, and I don't care. He can sign everything.
I had Robin Trower. I thought, well, you'd probably say Jimi Hendrix. No, He said James Brown
Wow.
from his
Okay.
R&B. He's really an R&B.
Well, I
And
mean, I love James Brown,
yeah,
but I can't really say he was a great influence on me, you know. But it's all good.
yeah.
I think he was.
Petula Clark told me Pink Floyd. She wanted to play with Pink Floyd. That
Wow.
was surprising. Yeah.
That is surprising, but music, like politics,
Hmm.
make strange bedfellows.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
but I'm not going to say anything strange. There's nothing strange about wanting to work with Jimmy Page. I mean, second on my list would be Dave Coverdale,
Hmm.
just because I think I could make a great album with Dave.
Hmm.
And then I would probably, third on my list would actually be Ozzy.
Yeah.
I am 100% convinced I could make a phenomenal album with Ozzy. I could sit down with him.
Yep.
We'd write some killer songs. I would come out with some really good guitar stuff, and could make a great album. Yeah.
You guys would mesh very well. Bring your drummer along too if you're gonna play with.
Oh
Ozzy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love Ozzy, by the way. I think, and again, this sounds kind of almost silly to say, but I think he's actually an underrated singer.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's great musicality in his phrasing and his approach to vocals. So yeah, I'm an Ozzy fan.
He's very unique, his vocals. Nobody can sing like Ozzy.
No,
it's just like him.
Where does it come from?
Exactly.
Very
and he
cool.
does it so naturally. He doesn't even try. It just comes out that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What was your first concert that you ever went to?
This might surprise you, but it was actually Black Sabbath.
It was Black Sabbath.
Yeah, it was. I was like 16 years old.
Uh-huh.
Went to see Black Sabbath, and I think it was their very first time in America. I think maybe they had been in America for like 4 or 5 days.
Wow, long time ago. Yeah.
And they played at this little club about 5 minutes from my house, a place called the Action House in Island Park, New York.
Small venue, or?
It was actually a medium-sized venue. It holds about 1,000 to 1,500 people.
Yeah, okay. It's kind of small.
And yeah, actually, right, when you think about it.
Yeah.
And they played there, and it was just like the most incredibly moving thing for me to witness, because it was so dark and doomy and loud, and I mean, literally there were people being carried out on stretchers. There was 2 or 3. But here I am, like a 16-year-old kid, and it was just like, what the heck is going on here? Because I mean, I was already enjoying, Led Zeppelin, and I was I had listened to metal, and I enjoyed metal before Black Sabbath, like Blue Cheer and bands like that. And but then Black Sabbath came out, and it was like this really great dark energy, but at the same time, I didn't see it as evil. I just saw it as they were being very passionate about their music. And they were totally controlling the crowd, it was, and it was just really very, almost traumatic. It was like, wow, where did these guys come from? This is different.
It's funny you said that. Black Sabbath was probably the 3rd concert I ever went to, and the guy I went with freaked out. I mean, he started falling to the floor, jumping. He was doing push-ups, and then he was saying that he was seeing all these, like he was hallucinating or something. He wasn't doing any hallucinogenics. I think we were smoking pot, but that was about it. But
Right.
it wasn't really strong or anything.
Well, it's crazy, but it's like how some people overreacted when they saw the movie The Exorcist.
Right.
Oh, there were people that were like fainting in the theater,
Yeah.
and
That
people
still
getting,
scares me, by the way.
well, I guess that was the intent of the filmmakers. But so that was definitely kind of for me. It was a very strong introduction to the power
Right.
of
Right.
live music. And
Right.
then like a year later, I saw uh 10 years after
Mm-hmm.
with the MC5
Wow.
and Blue Oyster Cult. So Blue Oyster Cult were called Soft White Underbelly. They hadn't transitioned to the name Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah. Yeah.
The MC5, and I was thinking first, Blue Oyster Cult went on. I'm thinking, wow, these guys are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
How are the MC5 going to top that?
Right.
The MC5 came out and they just basically devastated Blue Oyster Cult. They were just, the energy coming off the stage was just like amazing.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking, well, how's anybody going to top Blue Oyster Cult? Alvin Lee comes out 10 years after, and they basically pulverized the crowd.
Yeah.
It was just phenomenal, and you could see, and this was maybe, I don't know, like a year after Woodstock, and you could
Mm-hmm.
see why they basically stole that show.
Mm-hmm.
Why Woodstock? I mean, they were going toe to toe with the greatest musicians
Yep.
in the world. But if you really look at the film Woodstock,
Mm-hmm.
10 years after, just were phenomenal.
Well, the energy they
The
had.
energy was just not
Yeah.
even normal. And again, I was really young when I went to that show, and I was actually, it's a kind of a funny story. I'll just say it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I was hanging out at Sam Ash Music in West Hempstead,
Mm-hmm.
Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
My friend at the time, Richie Ash, his parents owned the store, Sam
Oh,
Ash.
cool. Yeah.
Richie's now CEO of the whole chain.
Yeah, we've
But
got
he
one
was-
here. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like everywhere.
Yeah.
And anyway, he was my friend back then, and we hung out.
Mm-hmm.
We're hanging out, and this big black limo pulls up,
Mm-hmm.
and we could see the limo from the storefront. And sure enough, out comes Alvin Lee with the most incredible looking chick that
Mhm.
both of us ever saw. And
Yeah.
we're like little 17-year-old geeks, and it's like, damn. And he comes in the store, and we're like, we got to talk to him and everything, and we were talking to his girlfriend, and more like admiring his girlfriend, but anyway.
Yeah.
So Alvin was very gracious.
Yeah. Yep.
And so anyway, as he was getting ready to leave, he goes to me and Richie. He goes, "Do you boys want to come and see us tonight?" And of course, we're looking at each other. Hell yeah! and then, so he gave us tickets, to go and see them. And so after they left, we kind of looked at each other and go, "Oh, how are we going to get there? We don't drive."
We'll figure it out.
But exactly, we figured it out. We went there. We even got to talk to Alvin's girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
who actually invited us in the limo to hang out with her.
Very cool.
I mean, it was just like, yeah, she was just like, but like we were like harmless, it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
we didn't look like serial killers, and Richie's father owned the whole damn chain.
Right. Right.
So she knew that,
Yeah.
like,
What
okay,
connections,
all-
man?
Yeah, all we were gonna do is basically give her ego food,
Yeah.
We were gonna just like, stare like, but it was really cool. And Alvin became really probably my biggest influence,
Hmm.
which is kind of weird because I never really talk about it. And people assume, oh, you must be into this one or that one, because you play these harmonic minor
Hmm.
scales, and mixolydian and blah, blah, blah. And the truth is, for me, uh, Alvin Lee was the consummate
Yeah.
rock star.
A great blues player. Yeah.
Everything about him
Yeah.
was just like perfect, the songs, the playing, the
Yeah.
image, he was just he was an MF on the guitar.
Oh yeah. You know what? I think you and your friend probably started the "we're not worthy." We're
Yeah, I think we did,
that
man.
story was exactly like those guys.
It was it was a true story.
Yeah.
Richie's we're friends on Facebook.
Right.
And in fact, another funny aside is he was on Facebook about like a year and a half ago, and Sam Ash has a line of guitars,
Yep.
Michael Kelly guitars,
Hmm.
and he was just talking about. He goes, this Michael Kelly Telecaster is phenomenal. It's every bit as good as a Fender.
Hmm.
And I was being kind of like a dick, and I was going, "Oh yeah, sure. It probably sucks." Richie, you're just saying that, because you own Sam Ash and you guys represent them. Anyway, to make a long story short, Richie goes, "No, I'm not. They're great effing guitars,
Hmm.
and I'm going to give you one, and you're going
Oh.
to tell me
All right.
what you think." So I go, "Okay, whatever." A week later, I get a UPS delivery. There's this big, beautiful case, and there's a Michael Kelly Telecaster in it. And I tried it out, and it had, the Seymour Duncan pickups, and the guitar was phenomenal. It was actually better than my Fender Tele.
Hmm.
And so I learned that, different guitar companies can hit it out of the park when they really want to.
Oh yeah. Definitely. I got a quick
Yeah.
Sam Ash story for you.
Mhm.
I brought in my guitar. I wrote my first book because I sold my guitar. So I
Wow.
took that money and needed it for the publishing costs and everything, which is this first book, which is me growing up in the family business. That was my first book. But anyway,
Wow.
I took my 73 Fender Telecaster
Mhm.
into Sam Ash. It had a lot of autographs on it. It had Johnny Winter. It had John Kay from Steppenwolf, Eric Burden, Alvin Lee. I hung out with Alvin Lee backstage at a show, one of his shows. And they emptied out all the cash registers immediately to buy my guitar and gave me cash. It was like $3,000,
And now it's probably worth like $5,000.
Probably.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's cool. It's good. And speaking of which, I knew back in 74,
Hmm.
73, 74, that Gibson Les Pauls from the 1950s were very valuable.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to get into literally discussions
Hmm.
with Richie's father about that. And I would say, those guitars are extremely valuable, and they're one day they're going to go through the roof. And I had a friend who was a guitar dealer back then.
Yeah.
So, it's just like sometimes, people are on the cusp of knowing something. And,
Hmm.
but, you can't always act on these things.
Right.
I mean, you know, when I was 18, a friend of mine offered me a 1959 Flying V
Wow.
sale,
That's
and
rare.
he wanted $300 for it. And I asked my father, I said, Dad, please trust me. This thing will one day be worth a fortune.
That's right.
And he was just like, no,
Oh gosh.
it's just an electric guitar. They'll never go up because electric guitars are just a piece of wood with
Right.
pickups. You know, there's no craftsmanship involved.
Mm.
Wrong.
How much is it worth now?
I'm worth about two or 300 grand, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, and so on and so forth, you know. So,
Wow.
but you know, you learn, and you
I
can't
know.
buy everything, you know.
You know,
And there's probably instruments now that are going to go up, you know.
well, collecting guitars, man, it's better than the stock market. The investment is much better than the stock market.
It is, and you know, it's the
Yeah.
same thing with albums. You know, I
Yeah.
collect vinyl. You know,
Yep.
I have a big vinyl collection,
Right.
and yeah, I mean, who would have thought, right, that Zeppelin albums would be going, you know, for
Yeah.
$200, or there were people in record stores that were judging the value by
Hmm.
who mastered the record.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh, the one that was recently remastered by Jimmy Page himself
Hmm.
is not worth as much as the one that was originally mastered, you know,
Yeah.
40 years ago. I mean, for my money, I would go with the one that was mastered by Jimmy Page.
Right.
No, it's weird, and these collectors are so anal retentive, you know.
I know.
And they know every little thing
Yeah.
about the pressing, and they know
Right.
all this. I collect because I really love the music,
Yep.
you know. But anyway,
Is that a Fender behind you?
no, actually, hold on. This is actually. Let's see if we can get it to look. Hold on.
Looks like a Telly.
It's a Michael Kelly.
Really?
This is the Michael Kelly
Okay.
that was given to me
Wow.
by Richie Ash
Nice guitar.
years ago.
Yeah.
And it's got it's got Seymour Duncan's.
Mhm.
Let's see if I can just get it in the light. Can you
Mhm.
see it?
Yeah, I do
pictures
see
and
it.
everything?
Beautiful guitar.
Yeah, it really is. It's
Yeah.
magnificent sounding.
Mhm.
There's a video on YouTube where I'm playing Whiter Shade of Pale, and I'm using that, and the sound is just like ridiculously good. You know, in fact, Richie Ash saw the YouTube video, and he commented on it. So yeah, I mean, you know, anybody can make it. Not, well, I don't want to say anybody, like it's easy, but if you work at it, put the right components,
Mhm.
and you don't skimp,
Right.
you can make a great guitar.
You still have the guitar that you played on Blues Breaker Blues?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a 1986 E-Series
Mhm.
Fender Strat.
That's got a great sound.
It really does. That's an
Yeah.
exceptional guitar. Like everybody that's ever played it
Yeah.
has pretty much offered to buy it. You know, it's
Mhm.
like, wow, this guitar sounds amazing. And you get lucky sometimes, you know.
Mhm.
You find a guitar and it connects to you. And I mean, I used to have like a ton of guitars.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking like I had like about 30 guitars,
Yeah.
which is a lot, you know.
Yeah.
And I got rid of them all. I didn't
Mm.
need them, and I found that I was always playing the same two guitars.
Right.
So it's like, why?
That's true.
What am
That's
I?
true.
You know, what am I trying to prove? Who am I trying to impress? Got rid of them, and
Yeah.
and I'm happy I did.
Yep.
And now I can develop more of a relationship.
Right.
I know it sounds almost crazy to say that, but you know, you develop a relationship with a guitar.
Yep.
And it's, you know, I don't want to say the obvious analogy like a woman, but there is something
It's
to be
true.
said, you know, that,
Yeah.
you know, like somebody, you know, having a ton of girlfriends or whatever, that's not a good thing. Yeah, and I'm happy that I'm married at this point, and you know, and like I was saying, you know, you want to develop that that monogamous relationship in life
Right.
with your guitar,
Yep.
with your significant other, and you know, it's taken me a while to realize that, you know, and I'm happy that I finally come full circle, you know, and I'm happy that I found the right woman, and
How long you been married now?
3 years.
Oh, three. Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
You have children?
I have 2 boys from a
Okay.
previous marriage. Yeah.
How old are they?
Oh, they are in their 30s.
Yep. Yeah, me
They are,
too. My
they are
daughter's
all
36.
okay.
Yeah.
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 In fact, yeah. In fact, my son's going to be having a birthday Sunday,
Right.
and he lives in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so it's all good, you know,
Yep.
and they don't play, but they love music.
Yeah.
And in a way, I'm kind of almost like relieved that that they don't play, because it's a tough road, man.
Yeah.
You know,
It
because
is.
you're either Billy Joel or you're
Yep.
not.
Yeah.
And if you're not Billy Joel, you're not having that glorious, incredible lifestyle
Right.
that you know, that people, you know, aspire to, you know.
Yeah.
You know, not that I've ever been like that. I'm never really envious of what's on the other guy's plate, you know.
Right.
I'm happy doing what I do at the speed that I do it, and
Right.
at the level that I do it. You know, if you have, you know what, if you have 100 super loyal fans in the world, it's worth 100,000 blasé fans.
Exactly.
You know, because you're not going to walk into a record store and see a giant cutout of Jack Starr.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to dig into the B section or the S section or the import section and find my albums.
Right.
You will walk into a record store and there'll be a giant cutout of Britney Spears or Lady Gaga. But
Yeah.
you know, like take Britney Spears, it's like, where are her loyal fans now?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
You know, my loyal fans, they're there. I
Yeah.
hear from them like every day on Facebook. And,
That's right.
And it's a great feeling, you know.
Yeah. That's a positive thing nowadays about social media.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's the quality. It's the
Yeah.
quality of your fans, not the quantity.
Exactly.
If you have 10,000 loyal fans that
Yep.
will buy your album and that will support you,
Right.
you've done good. So
Yep.
I have done good.
Jack, what's next? Did we cover everything today? You're gonna plan a
could.
tour after this album comes out.
Yeah. And
What else is going on?
well, basically, you know, it's kind of a really great moment in my
Mhm.
life. New manager Giles
Yep.
Lowry, who works with some top-notch acts like Alcatraz,
Mhm.
Girls School, and all these British bands.
Right.
He's definitely European based.
That's good.
And,
Yeah.
it's really good for
Yeah.
me at the point in my career.
Yep.
New record company, Global Rock.
Yep.
And these guys are really they're not gun shy. They're actually spending money on publicists and advertising and social media.
Good.
And that's important because there's a lot of labels out there that basically they'll sign a band that has a cult following and they'll just sit back and just collect the dividends. You know, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, well, this guy can sell like 5,000, so we'll sign him and we don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, well, this guy could sell 5,000-10,000 albums, but why don't we actually put some money behind him and see
Right.
if we can go from 10,000 to 25,000.
Yep.
you know, and 25,000 in today's world
Hmm.
is actually a lot.
Yep.
So that's new. The fact that we got this new manager, this new label,
Hmm.
Global Rock,
Hmm.
and also that we have a new singer. So basically, we're kind of reinventing ourselves.
Good.
And it feels good. It feels good to do that.
Yeah. Well, you're headed in the right direction, man. The album's great. 5 stars, everybody. And the album's coming out soon, July. And
Yeah,
everybody should be excited about it because I love it.
absolutely. And you know what? That makes me feel great, actually,
Yeah.
because so few people have heard it,
Yep.
and that's intentionally so, because I would have already blown the whole thing and
Hmm.
had it everywhere, to get that recognition and, that pat on the back, it's like,
Exactly.
but I've been reined in
Yep.
by managers and labels and everybody else. So you're one of the few people that's heard it. So I thank you a lot.
Sure. Thank you. And I want to say special thanks to the great John Lappin of Lappin Enterprises for arranging this interview with Jack Starr. John's a great guy.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
He's got me like working like nonstop this
Good.
month, like
That's his job.
3-4 interviews a day. I made a joke 2 weeks ago when we started. I said, John, feel free to get me as many interviews until I become hoarse.
That's a good attitude.
Last week I was hoarse. So it's all good.
That's a good attitude because not everybody likes doing interviews, They'll only do a few here and there.
Well, at this point, at this point in my career, I'm happy.
Yeah.
We'll touch base next year.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for the tour. Hopefully you'll do some touring in the States and in your own backyard, Florida. And this way I can come see you guys.
Right. And tell Candace I said hi. And
I will.
I didn't mean anything negative at all.
Hey, she says things about Richie to me when he's in the house, probably lurking around the corner, like things like he's getting up there in age and he can't do a lot anymore. And,
I hear you.
So
hey, we're all getting there. So it's
I
all
know.
good.
Exactly.
It's all good. But I do have one good Blackmore story is I love his doorbell. The doorbell that goes bing, bing, bing.
Oh, really?
I don't know if he still has that doorbell, but
Oh,
I think they had a house in Reading, Connecticut,
right.
just a while ago. And the doorbell went bing, bing, bing. So if I could get a doorbell that would do one of my tunes,
Yep.
I'd be in ecstasy.
That'd be awesome. Oh, you can arrange that, I'm sure. Somebody will do it.
Yeah, somebody.
Jack Starr's Burning Star, July 15th. That's the release date, the new album. Also, you're on Facebook. You're let's see, we got what is your website again? www. Is it jackstar.com? jackstarsburningstar.com?
No, they're all on Facebook at this point. There's about
Facebook. Okay.
There's about 4 or 5 various. There's one, the official Jack Starr's Burning Star.
Okay.
There's another one, Jack Starr's Burning Star. There's just Jack Starr.
Right.
So I'm pretty easy to find on social media. Just type in the name and it comes up. And one last quick question.
Sure.
Will I be able to see a video of this somewhere?
Of course.
Okay, cool.
I stream to everywhere. I mean, I'm on Spotify, Pandora, Google, Apple. I'm everywhere.
Okay, so what, in the next couple of days or so?
I'll send it to John, and then John will forward it to you, I guess.
Love it. Yeah, because I have a personal assistant now.
Yeah.
That loves collecting all this stuff, and
it'll be on YouTube.
Great. All right. Yeah. I will tell Phil Simmons that you guys are doing.
We get a lot of hits, so it'll be good PR, excellent PR.
Okay. Actually, it's Phil Simons. I made that mistake. Oh, he hates when I call him Phil Simmons because Phil Simmons. There was a weight loss guru.
Oh man,
you remember, like in the 80s or
yeah.
So It's Simon's. Phil, when you get this and watch it, I apologize. You are Simon's, not some. Okay, but I digress.
Okay. I like your shirt, by the way. Is that available on Facebook or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a couple of merchandise companies
Cool.
that put it out. Hold on, let me give you the whole.
Yeah.
It's the whole last album cover.
Right.
And the back of it says "The storm is coming, stand your ground." And there's also all kinds of bootlegs, T-shirts like from China. I mean, I even ordered one. Unfortunately, I never had a Jack Starr Out of the Darkness shirt, so I had to order one from China. But I wanted one, and I didn't want to.
You got to have a shirt that says, "When evil calls, I will not answer."
Right, maybe with a telephone or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But thank you for, by the way, thank you for saying that, because you kind of validated what I thought from the last album,
I love it.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate
it, man. All right, Jack, thank you so much, man, for being on the show today. Hey, if you're ever in my territory, give me a ring. We'll meet for beer, coffee, whatever.
Sounds great, brother. Absolutely.
We'll talk rock and roll.
All right, man.
All right. Take care, dude.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
We'll see you, man. Bye-bye.